I'm gonna hit the double whammy. I'm recording, so I also don't have to download this VOD later at the same time. So I'm learning from my past mistakes. Okay,
Are you?
second edition of it. Okay, shut up. We're gonna start this out in the amateur scene because we're all just a bunch of amateurs in this place.
I wish I was that good.
Currently happening right now that I am watching on this secondary. Well, this is actually my third monitor. Steel G Academy is getting pub stomped by no
Okay.
organization. And
Wait, no organization.
yes,
Okay.
Sorry?
Why are
They're-
they so disorganized?
they're actually. It's not that they're disorganized. It's that CLG actually just played a custom game, and it's just those 5 on the team, and they're still losing to the minions. That's what's happening.
Oh.
It's embarrassing. But the point of this conversation
Callista.
is,
This
well,
seems
not Callista's doing
Oh.
stuff. Never mind. The point of this conversation is the academy teams right now playing in this Proving Grounds qualifying tournament. Proving Grounds to help these teams both make names for players and for organizations. But the concern that a lot of people have about this is that there's ex-professional players that are participating in this tournament, which you can kind of put an asterisk on this. But the problem with it is people are now concerned in the sense that the academy teams are losing to collegiate teams and just teams of random fives that are getting together, ex-pros. And this is not ideal when North America is trying to focus on the pipeline to make our own talent better. Is this good or is this bad in the sense that you're giving recognition to these collegiate players or these random one-off solo queue superheroes and they're beating academy teams? Or is it good that the academy teams are facing competition, realizing that they don't have a secured position? Addison, you have opinions. You go first.
Well, I mean, competition's always a good thing, right? And I mean, if it's former LCS players, like that's, I mean, probably the best competition they're ever gonna face, right? Or at least close to it. They're probably not in the LCS anymore for a reason, whether that be personal reasons, they retire, or something or another. But there's normally a reason. Maybe their game's just not quite up there. But I mean, if they've taken a step back, how far is that step really going to be? Facing former LCS talents probably a good thing, right? I mean, at least in terms of realizing what the competition level needs to be, what your competition level needs to be at if you want to make it to the next level. Because if they're taking a step back and you're not beating them, then you clearly need to figure something else out, right?
Are you asking me? I don't know.
It sounded like he was asking.
You think I have all the answers?
No, just
I
I'm
thought
trying
that's
to.
why you started it.
Just someone disagree with me, fight me.
Matt,
No.
you're the closest to him.
Oh shit, he's gonna come in here and hit me in the head with a beer can.
I thought he had left from the side and was like actually gonna run over and like hit you.
You see my door get
Headset's
kicked open.
Said your headset's not what?
It was dying.
Oh,
Beeped at me. Plugged
that'll
it in.
teach
Fuck, what was the question? Is it good
Basically-
or bad?
you. The fact, the biggest
I
fact that academy teams are losing to collegiate teams or just random scraps of solo queue superheroes that are still obviously challenger level, but they're beating these
No.
professional organized players.
I think it's great, actually. Not in the sense for academy, but for what's below the academy. You know, all of these college teams have put a lot of effort into signing young kids that are doing well, yada yada yada. I.e. X Special, who has a fucking college team who's built up, and then 4 of the 5 of them go to academy within a year. I think that's awesome. So you turn that around, and then it's kind of, I think it's a tier where maybe academy is not the best. I don't know. It's not where it should be, but it's holding its purpose. They're not there to be the best. They're there to practice and get better and play teams that are worse than them, play teams that are better than them, or teams that they're not supposed to. I think that's great for the org of esports.
It's like a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so the college ones, if they beat Academy, that's where they're going to end up going, right? Like Matt was
Potentially.
saying,
In
like
theory, yeah.
in theory, that's where they're going to end up. I mean, so if the collegiate teams are beating the academy teams, aren't they theoretically just going to make the LCS that much better? Are you showing like the cream of the crop? Then maybe that just means that they're just that much better, and they might be, that getting close to that LCS talent.
And so you look at that in perspective, and realistically, that does make sense. That is like, I mean, if you look at it in a traditional sports sense, a college football player plays there 4 years, declare for the draft, go to the NFL, and maybe they don't start immediately. Maybe they work their way through the practice squad, second string, third string, whatever, up into the starting lineup, or they're just really good at football and they immediately go in straight into the starting lineup. You look at players like Niles and Iconic, who just came from Maryville University, out of the collegiate scene, went straight to Golden Guardians.
Can you guys read that?
Tell them I said hi. Let's say
not
pre-ordered
focused.
MILF.
No. Hi.
Yeah.
All right, so we're looking for a fourth chair to fill this one. Addison will be joining us for the last time today, so everyone make sure you say hello and thank you to Addison for being here.
We want Brutus.
Security.
But yeah, so I like the analogy of pro sports. Personally, just because I love sports. But so one of my favorite quotes I've ever seen about college football is sometimes you're going to have that guy that's going to go to 11 Pro Bowls in the NFL, and he's lining up against a guy that's going to be a litigation attorney, and that's where the magic happens, baby. Like, it's just clearly some way different level of competition, and that could be the case. I mean, I don't know. Personally, I don't watch all the games or anything, but I mean,
Right.
that's what you're hoping is happening if you're focusing on the pipeline of what's coming for NALCS.
And see,
I
that's
would also say too, like having I guess these no org, like just beating whoever they just beat. Was it CLG Academy?
Yep.
I mean, I'd argue that specifically is good. I think like Addison and Matt are both saying, just because, I mean, if that's happening, that means that NA talent is theoretically going in a direction where they can actually rise up the ranks, or just through all these teams, organizations, and actually climb up and actually get improve to the point where they can get picked up by teams, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Is this then a failure of constructing an infrastructure, in the sense that you have these collegiate teams, you have teams like Solified, like Team No Org, and there's 2 or 3 others that are participating in this unified Grand Prix tournament that's happening right now, that just aren't outright signed to any organizations. But then you not only have these academy teams, TSM Academy, CLG Academy, participating in this, but I think what could be considered the framework provided by Cloud9, because Cloud9 has an amateur team. There's C9 in the LCS, there's C9 Academy, then there's C9 Amateur. And the C9 Amateur team is the team that's participating in this tournament right now. Is that where the framework should be, that teams should set up a third string? I mean, you got the majors, the AAA, AA. Should professional teams be setting up an amateur team, as opposed to these individual players just ganging together a random 5 from solo queue ladder to go into these tournaments?
I mean, I think you can use all of it. I mean, you mentioned a AA, AAA, and another sports reference. I mean, they also have college baseball. I mean, you get a lot of these high school guys, they get offered millions of dollars right out of high school, and so they go to the minors. And then there's some guys that need to keep working on their game. They don't have it there, or they just don't like the teams that offer them money. And so they go and grind it in the minors, or they go to college, before they grind in the minors at all. So, I mean, you have people of all sorts of talent come out of college. You have people of all sorts of talent just go straight to the majors out of high school. I think mostly you'll see your generational type talents. They'll get they won't take the college route. They'll go more of the go straight for the like gang up with the teams of 5, gang up, or just try and go to an academy team to get into a program. But you can still have people developing talent in the collegiate scene and still develop talent that can compete with that one day.
Now, not to mention too, if you have an org that has those 3 teams like C9, you just said does. I mean, in a way, the like barrier to entry to get into even just the lowest thing isn't as high as if there was just no academy or amateur team thing, right? And that potentially could, motivate a lot more young players to actually grind and actually try to work their way up more than previously.
Matt, you got anything?
No, I mean I completely agree. Like there's no wrong way to promote yourself or promote your company. If it's bringing on the 3rd team, that's perfect. Honestly, it almost sets you up for more success later on, because like Addison said, some people need that time to build up, or some people are already ready. If you're taking that AA route into academy, there's nothing wrong with that. And actually, you may even learn more because you're playing with more people, playing against more people.
The biggest question out of this is, should these teams be allocating resources to set up that AA route, to set up that minor league route, as opposed to just letting collegiate teams do this? Should they actually sponsor an amateur squad as like their own farm system to help develop North America? Or should they just let it happen where it is just these proving ground tournaments with college players and random academy teams or random amateur teams?
I think they should. I mean, having, like I said earlier, having more competition is never a bad thing. And if they put the resources into it, and then later they find out it's not quite working, they can always rethink it. But having your guys go up against these guys, it just lets you see what your talent level is at. Maybe sometimes you get stomped, and maybe sometimes you do the stomping. Hopefully, it does a little bit of back and forth, and hopefully they just do a lot of learning. But I think they absolutely should.
Especially if every team could get on to that. If every team tried to do it in the same way, or at least the same level of commitment, if that makes sense too.
Right.
Because if you have, 1 or 2 teams that are really, really pushing for it, and then some teams that, maybe aren't, and whether that be they don't want to, or they just don't have the resources or money to.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, and
it's
so
all assuming that they can, but
exactly. But that's at least, I guess, could be a benefit if that was the case. But again, you never know.
It's also curious
money's a big thing.
that Cloud9's the one that does have the amateur team, considering what Jack is saying about getting rid of the import rule.
Yeah.
And he's the one that wants to actually pad his stats, because he's got the money to do an amateur team, but he's also got the money to buy 5 Western players.
Imports.
Yeah. So whatever it might be out of this one. Speaking of Jack and Cloud9, it's obvious right now, because of their money, because their team, they are the best team in North America, according to the standings, according to their play style. Sure, they dropped a game last week. Now you get into the conversation of the actual professional scene as to who's going to take the actual number 2 spot in the LCS. You have TSM, Team Liquid, Dignitas, and 100 Thieves, all of which are looking solid enough to make a conversation for themselves that they are capable of being the number 2 team, but it's a hot fucking mess in that position. I mean, I said it in my Power Rankings video. It's just a complete disaster where Team Liquid decisively kicked C9's ass. TSM has looked like they're starting to figure it out. I put TSM at number 2 in my Power Rankings, and in the order I said, TSM, TL, Dig, 100 Thieves, 2, 3, 4, 5. But 100 Thieves losing to Golden Guardians, can they even be in the conversation as the number 2 team anymore?
I weirdly think that all 4 of them, it feels like one of those
Fahrenheit 451.
this team beats this. Yeah, one of those Fahrenheit 451 deals. You know, Team 2 beats Team 3, beats Team 4, then beats Team 2, or whatever.
Right.
You know, it seems like just anyone can beat anyone in that 2 to 4, 2 to 5 range. So it's like, it feels like any one of them could be. It just depends on the day at the moment, but it's kind of a weird situation.
I mean, I think I had Dignitas as the second best team. I mean, just
Okay.
after the showing. TSM, I think they looked, on what I saw, they looked strong early on. But Dig, I feel like Dignitas almost in the team fights made TSM either look undecisive or like they didn't know what they were doing. I think Dig had some solid team fights where they baited the Olaf. They got the Olaf coming in hard, which I mean, Olaf's very strong, obviously, in the meta. So I get why he's going aggro. But they seemed like they managed to bait those fights where it wasn't a team fight. It was a 1v4, it was a 1v5, and then it became a team fight, right? Because you couldn't, they were zoning, right? They couldn't have their carries engage while they're, I mean, other than Olaf, they couldn't have their carries engaging. And I think Team Dignitas just played, like, they showed really good team fighting, and that's all what makes the best teams, right? It's how they're able to work as a team, how they're able to play as a team. So that's why I said that Dignitas is the second best team.
Mm-hmm.
And I know last week we talked about, you asked, and we didn't really have an answer last week, but you asked if they were the best team in the LCS, if there was an argument for that case. With Cloud9 losing one, it's still, I think Cloud9 is still the best team, but it's even more of an open question. I think it's probably closer than we thought last week. As Colin just said, you know, those top four, maybe even five, the 2 to 5 range, you don't know who's going to beat who.
Right.
But I think Dig's a lot closer to C9 than we gave him credit for last week, probably.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Matt,
I also think, I was going to say, I just think Liquid probably also made a big jump today. We asked last week if they were in a good position.
Yeah.
And I think they kept themselves they reinforced the answer of yes, they are in a decent position, even if
they
they didn't
kicked the
start
shit out
out
of
high.
C9, so
Yeah, if you beat the best team in the league, yeah.
It counts for something. Matt, I'm the one that put TSM at number 2 in my power rankings. You're the proponent of TSM. That is the fact that their bot lane sucks. Do you think they're good enough to be the number 2 team after what they did last week?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
I didn't watch 3 seconds of anything. Great. So, sure, why not? Look, by the numbers. Yeah, we got potential. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
No arguments for TL at all outside of for Addison.
Second. Scrolly, ravioli.
Well, I personally wrote down
shit.
Because we were talking about the middle range. Like we talked last week how there was clearly a bottom 2. Right. There was GG and CLG.
Well, we'll get to that too.
I'm sure we will. But we were talking about that middle range, right? Where we didn't. We asked if Liquid was in a good position, and you know those two teams, they were 4-4, right, after last week, and now they both advanced to 5-4. They both make big steps to keep their names in the conversation. Obviously, Liquid has a bigger step in that because one of them beat the number 1 team and one of them beat the number 10 team. So a little bit difference in the competition level, but they both did what they needed to do this week in order to keep their names in the conversation as the teams that were, like the middling teams. We didn't know how to feel about them.
Yeah, and I think I put a lot of emphasis on that in my power rankings video in the sense of looking at those teams because to start the season there was a line between like the top 4 where it was like 100 Thieves, TL, EG, and C9, and the line, not in that order. I think the line went through EG where they were a good team but not great because they played a little bit on the inconsistent side, and now we have the introduction of Dignitas sliding in here, EG falling out. I think EG still is walking a line of being a decent team but not great because they just don't have that consistency to come in, and that's where I put EG at the number 6. I think 6 through 10 is a definitive understanding of where those teams lie. I mean, that's that. But the top 5, as Colin put it, they're just the cycle of everyone's going to beat somebody. And
So,
it's just a
as
hot mess.
someone who doesn't have your video memorized, what exactly did you have as the power rankings? Out
So I
of
put
curiosity.
Cloud9 first. I had TSM number 2, TL number 3, Dignitas number 4, 100 Thieves 5, EG 6, Immortals 7, FlyQuest 8, Golden Guardians 9, CLG 10.
So yeah, I mean, we're just talking about that 2 to 5 range. Like
Yeah.
I think I would have Dig at 2. I don't know if I would have Liquid at 3. I'd probably go TSM, Liquid, then 100 Thieves, because I mean, 100 Thieves, they struggled in their game.
I mean, they had a
Mhm.
1-2 weekend. That's
Yeah,
It's not
So-
good,
not an expert,
especially
not a great
when one
team
of the
should do that.
losses is the 9th place team.
Right.
yeah.
Or
And
9th
last week I
ranked,
had
whatever
Golden
you want
Guardians
to.
at 10th. So technically,
Mhm.
by my
Technically, it
rankings,
was
that's
worse.
a number 2 losing to a number 10.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah, so I mean, I have Liquid at least 4
Okay.
in that area.
That's where I had
sounds
them last
right.
week, was 4th. Because they're forever 4th. That's just the Liquid curse.
Well, just to go on to just for a second about how the top, 4, top 5, or I guess 2 through 5 are so close. It feels like I've heard 3 different, orders of
Yeah.
how it's been going, and just to, I would have put TSM at 2, but hearing Addison put Dig at 2, I'm just like, yeah. I
mean,
I buy that too. I mean, honestly, the only reason I say I'd put TSM over Dig is because, in my opinion, and again, it's really just how you see the game. TSM felt like they were doing okay until they got 2 objectives completely stolen out of nowhere. That
right.
feels like it never should have happened, but
Dardoch just walks
that's
forward.
part of the game, though,
Yeah.
right? So
The
that's
starter play was redonk.
Yeah,
so
that's just Dardoch being good at League of Legends, and I think that he's deserving of a lot more credit this year now as to what he's doing here on Dignitas. And I love to see that in a player that's been around forever, not only for him but also for Aframu, who last year players and fans both were saying Aframu's washed up. Why is he still here? I can't believe he's still playing. And now look at the guy. He's like Dignitas' bot lane is number 1, number 2 in like KDA and kill participation and like in so many stats like. Neo and Afro are doing incredible things under the radar, but it's not under the radar because they're at the top of the leaderboard.
They're
Yeah.
quietly at the top of the leaderboard.
Exactly, and I love to see that.
seems like Dardoch plus Afro, and then the 3 rookies. I don't know if they're all technically rookies, but the
Couple
3,
academy players, and then yeah,
but it seems like just a really great combo. It seems like them 2 are just like, here's what we do, and then everyone is on the same page. Okay, we'll do that. Also, Dig games are extremely entertaining
it's true.
so far.
And to the point that Addison makes, I said the same thing in my video that I think that you can make an argument for any one of those 4 teams that could be the number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. I mean, you could put those in any order. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, like I can see where you're coming from for that. And the only reason I don't put Dignitas higher than number 4 is because I am looking for this weekend for them to prove themselves as that team because they have a pretty good schedule that is coming up. Facing off against Immortals should be a win for them. But then they face off against 100 Thieves and CLG. So this should be a weekend that 100 Thieves is going to be the hardest game, but this should be a weekend that Dignitas can 3-0. And then the conversation is going to start to come in like,
Yeah.
is Dignitas actually this team?
I could see that 3-0. Yeah, definitely.
Who's Cloud9 play?
C9 faces Golden Guardians, EG, and 100 Thieves.
So, I mean, it'll be pretty good to judge. I mean, personally speaking, as someone who thought Dignitas was 2, just compare Cloud9 and Dig's games both versus 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
Because and just the opposite. 100 Thieves. This is a really big weekend for them. I mean, we could this time next week be talking about, well, are they the best team? Are they the number 2 or whatever it may be? I mean, because if they 3-0 and they beat Cloud9, all of a sudden they might have the best record, right?
Yeah.
So it like we talked about, it just can go anywhere.
Yeah. And that's a huge proponent, like where I'm looking to next week, because we finished the first round robin of games. Everyone's played each other at least once now, so now we're getting into the second half where everyone's going to start scrapping around again. And you would have thought by the end of the first round robin we'd have a more clear idea as to who is at the top of the league. But here we are, scrapping and scrambling. Like I don't, top five, I don't know. Bottom five, yeah, but top five, I don't know. Somebody's going to win eventually. And that's, I think, a good point to.
Legally, someone has to.
Yeah, someone's got to get first place. I think it's a good point to transfer over to the question of, are these teams meeting expectations? Where you have the bottom five that is so definitively set, but the top five is such a mix with a lot of gray area in between. Are these teams actually doing what they should be? Is this what should be expected of? I mean, you say competition's good. And it is to make each other better as opposed to just having one team run away with it and just go on cruise control for the rest of this. But nobody looks outright impressive. Yeah, on a global
even
scale.
Cloud9, even Cloud9 had that one really just completely one-sided loss. I mean, it was against Liquid, which is also a good team, but like,
Yep, they spent
still,
money.
you don't lose like that if you're the best team, right? Theoretically. I do feel like most of the team. I feel like Dig is the biggest surprise to me.
I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Like, I don't know, like where I would have placed them before the season started, but I don't like. I would have maybe. I would have maybe put like anywhere from 6, 7, maybe 8. I mean, again, I didn't really do a preseason ranking thing or anything.
I did, and I put him at 8.
Okay,
so
I
there with you.
6. Okay, exactly. And so, but I feel like most of the other teams, I kind of are semi where I expected, I guess. Golden Guardians are kind of low, like I thought, for example. And so, yeah.
I mean, I think you give the top 4 record wise, Dig, TSM, 100 Thieves, and Cloud9, obviously. I think they are exactly where they need to be. Like 6-3, very solid win percentage. I mean, 3 games above 500 in such a short season. It's really good. I think you'd obviously, if you really wanted to meet expectations, you'd probably have a team, with 1 loss or no loss. But 7-2, like you drop one every now and then. But at least at this point in the season, you have someone whose their record shows they're definitively in first. If you had, if Cloud9 was also 6-3, or you had a couple more dropping down, if you had a whole league that was between 5-4, 4-5, or something like that, and then you had 1 or 2 teams that were slightly higher, you could say that they're not where they should be expected to be. But at this point in the split, right, they're 3 games above 500, and they all have put themselves in a position to win out, right? If you can, they all control their own destiny at this point. They're going to play they're all going to play Cloud9 at least one more time, or at least they should, if they haven't, except Liquid, right? So those top teams, they all put themselves in a position where they can, if they really are that team, they can run away with it here. And someone ends a split with 3 losses, someone ends a split with 2 losses. You're going to look back and be like, yeah, they were where they needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we're exactly halfway through the split. So yeah, it's going to just be the second round robin. So every team plays each other team once.
Okay. I definitely think there's going to be a split series. I think Cloud9's going to lose more than 2 games. I don't think you're going to have a 2-loss team and a 3-loss team. I think there is a good chance Cloud9 drops a couple more games, and it is on the development of these other teams. Matt, if there's any teams here that you think, looking at their records outright or looking at the numbers outright, like what here is either A, the most surprising, or B, the team that just, like, how are you not better?
TL.
Okay. You think they should be better? Because I think a lot of people will just say that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you have Jensen, who's probably the best mid. Core JJ, probably the best support. Santorin
But
is just
Sword
balling
Art.
out. Meh. Learning curve. Core JJ's been playing with Tactical for a year and a half,
Yeah.
True.
honestly.
Yeah.
And Core JJ's been in A for 3 years. There's not as much of a learning curve as Sword Out, who
Plus
says,
language.
"Hi, I Sword Art." Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I am Sword Art.
he can still do.
Core JJ
I
is also
just,
a world
I am
champ.
Steve Rogers.
yeah,
Yeah.
Liquid should be literally top tier, and I think 5 and 4 is unacceptable for them.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
You're saying they should be
They should be
At
top
least
3,
6.
100%.
okay.
I mean, I even
Core
put him,
JJ's too fucking good.
yeah. I mean, I think that there are angles where they are looking better. They do look like they have these opportunities. I mean, they, like I said, they kicked the shit out of Cloud9, and like that's a team. You know, I said in my power rankings video that looked like a team that should be in first place or competing for first place, but instead they're 5 and 4, and they're just losing these other games. It's like I don't understand why. I mean, sure, the other competition is just as good, but like they're losing some games where it's like, what? You're better than them because you look at their roster. You look at Jensen, you look at Core JJ and Tactical, who I think Tactical is probably one of the best ADCs in the league. And it's like,
Tactical's a beast.
what? Huh? But a lot of the problem, you know, coming around, especially with Alfari coming in, like he's got some of the most like solo kills and he's like the lane kingdom top laner. And Santorin is just one of the best like objective control junglers. But like when one person in this team falls behind, it seems like the whole team falls behind and they just can't recover from it. It's just weird. It's a weird dynamic that a team like this you just wouldn't expect to see.
Yep.
So I'm looking ahead at the schedule here. I scrolled down to the last week, and I think the way it stands, we were talking about maybe someone running away with it, but what if someone doesn't? You have Liquid. They play as Dignitas, they play EG, and they play 100 Thieves as their last 3 games. You have Dignitas Cloud9 on Saturday. That's the second to last game for them. We're potentially seeing like things could be coming down right to the wire right at the very end. Some really interesting games there at the end of the split.
Yeah.
Like Liquid versus Dig, Dig versus Cloud9. Like some interesting games.
Crunch time.
Yeah, I mean, I think they, the way it's shaping up, I think they actually, if they are competitive to the very end, right, that makes it more interesting. More people want to tune in and watch. I think that's actually working out really well for NA if it stays competitive a little bit at least, or that there's at least a long shot at someone you could take in a 3-0 and getting top 3 or something like that.
Let's drop down now from the top of the league to the bottom of the league. I mean, looking at expectations as to where the top will go. Of course, it's going to be close competition from start to finish. But you look now at the bottom. I gave CLG the number 9 spot last week. It lasted 1 week. Broxa showed up. We thought it was going to be great. They almost beat Cloud9. They were so goddamn close to beating Cloud9. And as a CLG fan, you have no idea how excited I was. Like, it's happening. We're going to fucking do it. And then, no, didn't happen. So, looking at CLG in this United Grand Prix, whatever the hell it is, tournament that's happening, RJS went back into the Academy team. Pobelter's not playing on the Academy squad. Rumor on the street is, and I don't think, as of yet, it has been officially announced, but I think a lot of people are now recognizing and understanding the fact Pobelter is probably going to be starting for LCS this weekend. For the first time, they're going to have their whole initial starting 5 with Broxa, Pobelter, Finn in the top lane, and then Wild Turtle and Smoothie in the bot lane. I forgot my own support there for a second. I wanted to say Huhi, but
CLG fan, by the way.
I miss that guy. I miss Huhi.
Good
So
old
they have
Jake.
their full starting 5. Pobelter coming back into the starting 5. They're going to have their whole team. Brox have been here for a week and 2 days now. with the practice time, with the scrims, with Pobelter coming back in, and whatever, the 200 IQ he brings to the table, is this the fix CLG needs? Are they going for the answer? Are they going to be able to turn it around before the end of this split? Or is this just we're going to wait for summer split before we actually see any signs of success?
No, I think they'll see it. I don't know that you'll have pure success, as in you're not going to win every game, but I think they absolutely become immensely better just with the fact that POB's back.
I would agree with that. I think they're going to jump up at least a few spots just by the end of the split.
Your hope is they jump GG, Fly, and IMT at least in the standings, if not also EG, right? That's what you're looking for if that's the case. If Pobelzer comes back and they get some sort of groove, you're looking to end the split at 5 instead of 10 where they currently stand.
And that's where they're looking to. Trevor is making lots of faces because he thinks that's what we're saying is going to definitely happen. And that is not what we're really saying.
Yeah, no,
we're just saying that it could.
That's setting the bar real high. I like the ambition.
You can write it down. Someone put a timestamp on it. You can put it in the bag. CLG is going to finish 6th in the standings. They're jumping from 10 to 6.
Whew.
They're not going to quite jump EG, but they are going to jump GG, Fly, and IMT. And they're going to be in the current spot where Liquid's currently standing. I'm looking at the standings right now, but you have EG and Liquid both tied at 5. I think you're going to have Liquid jump EG, and you're going to have CLG ended up at 6.
That's what we needed is bold predictions. I like it.
And now I have my promotional clip.
Oh, no!
Take a look at this. Thanks, Addison.
Am I supposed
love
to
it.
have your...
What I'm here for.
Can I go off topic and ask what the fucking playoff scenario is?
What do you mean by
Not
that?
team wise, but is it
How the format is. you mean?
is it tournament and then a losers bracket?
Oh, for the MSI?
Sure.
I don't know what he's at. What?
Are there
I
playoff
feel like
rounds
it's
in
like
the
a top 6 bracket, and then what was it in the past? Losers will just play basically a losers bracket after that to play for 3rd in NA. Is that still a thing?
So the top 6 teams. So yeah, there is the MSI, but they've domesticated it now. So it is the mid-season showdown. And the top 4 teams in the upper bracket, 5 and 6, will then play into that. And then let me see if it's double elim or not. It's double round. Wait, spring split's double round robin, 10 teams. That's the ones. Top 6 then qualify for the mid-season showdown,
Which is just NA.
Yes.
Did I just accidentally predict CLG to the playoffs?
You did.
That's kind of I was going to, and I was
You
like,
sure
that
did.
means they can go to playoffs and then just fucking.
Matches
Oh, no.
are best
Win.
of 5 in a double elimination bracket. So yes, technically
If
by
it's top 6.
Addison's prediction, CLG makes the mid-season showdown to be in a play-in position against the top 4.
Uh-oh.
I like it.
And scene.
I can see it.
I'm going to take a shot of something real quick. Be right back.
The door's a pull, not a push.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. That's
It's a push for me.
You can push it in me anytime.
Okay.
Toss.
Watch this.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's gone wireless, boys.
Oh, no. I'm being... Brutus, I need my guard dog.
Security.
Get him.
She's not wrong. This door is fucked.
Brutus, fight him.
Hello.
Yeah, get him. Good dog.
Fantastic.
Yeah. This is the content we need.
This is
Dog
everything we
outside
asked
of
for.
the
This is the security intermission.
There's some campfires in town.
Shit. Hey, Brutus is on the other side of the
There's a
screen now.
dog. Oh, no. Now he left.
And I love, In context of which direction it is, it looks like he like really is
Actually
running from
makes
frame to
sense.
He
frame.
went around the world.
That's funny.
Brutus, bite him. It's right there, man. It's right there. Get him.
We don't condone violence
I do.
on the league and stuff. We're doing work, but I don't have a job. Podcast. I forgot what it's called.
It's been a shit door.
All right, so
But
Hey,
honestly,
Pulput's
realistically,
return is good.
Yes.
Is this
Yeah,
what
I
CLG
agree.
needs to fix this team?
Fix is a
CLG needs a
strong
new
word.
support.
Fix is a strong word, but it will
It is a
definitely
strong word.
assist them. Assist them, and they're going to get more wins now. Maybe
Which-
not immediately,
It's a goal.
but
Yeah.
I think their games are going to look cleaner in general.
Well, let's take a look at the old schedule here, shall we?
Matt, you think they need a new support? Why do you say
That's
that?
a good idea.
What?
Why do you think support is their next step to have a different player fill in?
Smoothie ain't it, fam? He's not a bad support. He's just
You don't think he's?
I can't
enough.
judge LCS supports because well I fucking am silver too, but
I mean, we can all
there's,
judge.
there's something
Might not
about
be right,
Smoothie's play that doesn't mesh with everyone. I think who is he on for TSM?
He was on
Who was he
Cloud9 for
on?
a while.
He was on Cloud9, and
Yeah,
that Cloud9 team was like really good. Also,
yeah.
I think
I think
20.
he played well with Sneaky.
He was on TL. Then he went to TL Academy for a while, and then he went to C9 for almost 3 years. He was
Maybe
there
that's it. Maybe
That
that's
long,
it.
wow.
Yeah.
Sneaky in lane. Smoothie in lane.
No sneaky, no
Echo
worlds.
Fox for 4 months, TSM, and then CLG.
I don't know. Maybe he plays better with passive players. Don't know.
We
He
all
needs
know Wild
mild.
Turtle
I think
loves
He
to
needs
flash
mild
Lift and
turtle.
Turtle are aggressive as shit.
He needs mild turtle instead of wild turtle.
Save that flash, buddy.
But that's no fun.
Exactly.
So CLG's schedule this weekend is 100
It's
Thieves,
an 03. I'm telling you
TSM,
right now.
Dignitas.
I'm telling
Oh
you
yeah.
right now. It's an 03. This is the worst
Oh.
schedule.
I
It's
feel
possible,
like-
though.
I feel like they're gonna go 1 and 2.
They could sneak one, but even if they go 0-3 this weekend, after that, it's very possible for the next 2 weekends after that for them to hit 2-1 twice in a row, because
Yeah.
you then go into March and you've got CLG
Exactly.
versus IMT, you've got CLG versus FlyQuest, and then CLG versus Liquid. So that on paper 2-1 if we think CLG is performing better.
Yeah.
Then March, the next week in March 12th, the first game, CLG Cloud9. I mean, like
Right.
I'm not predicting them to be that good.
Right.
I
But
will say CLG and C9 games are always amazing.
For one reason or another.
then the final 2 games in that split for CLG is GG then EG. I
Yeah.
mean, so they could. I mean,
Winnable.
literally that second to last game of the split is CLG versus EG, and we could theoretically be looking at a play into the playoffs at that point of who's fighting
True.
for 6th place. I mean, if CLG could go, that'd be 2-1 twice, and then 0-3, that's 4-5. Theoretically, they could be looking at it if EG hits a slide.
They got. If you ask me, I think they have to go over 500 if they want to make the playoffs from here on out. Like they have to at least 5-4, which means you have to get a win this weekend. And this is like the short end of the stick where they have the hardest schedule this weekend.
They don't necessarily need to. I mean, because they can 3-0. I mean, you probably don't see that happening the last weekend
Right.
against Cloud9, but I mean,
Well,
Liquid could drop, right?
it
And
is
they could
counter
win there.
logic. So
We don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
100 Thieves also just lost to Golden Guardians, so
Yeah. I mean,
so
like
that could
it
be
is
a 1-2
absolutely
this
feasible.
weekend. So
And there's so many variables with this because like you don't know what their mid lane situation is going to be. Like, sure, they said like Wild Turtle potentially accidentally spoiling the Pobelter got benched for attitude issues, and then management were went reeling backwards like it wasn't attitude, it was because we just thought we'd have a better spot with RJS to come in. And I mean, like CLG's team in general is just in shambles. Like between pro team and their academy team, their whole League of Legends is just in shambles right now. And there was a whole lot of staff changes on the offseason, and I think they're making in the right system. But this is obviously like a rebuilding year, right? Like they're signing new players, they're trying to get something more going. And I think honestly, from CLG's perspective, if they are going to dive into this rebuilding, I think you got to actually like full send to it and go with a development roster like Golden Guardians has and make something out of that work. And you look at what Golden Guardians is doing, and their coach explicitly said, yeah, sure, our team is not great. We've only won a couple of games. Niles has the most deaths in the league. We have the 2 worst KDAs in the league with our top laner and our mid laner. But this is a developmental team, and although they were not good at the start, they're getting better. Sure, they're still getting picked, but the plays that they're making have their team in mind. Is this more of the thought process I think that teams should have in a developmental sense? Because it seems like in the history of the LCS, every single team has always gone for that immediate gratification that we need a trophy and we need it now.
I mean, I think, rebuilding's counterintuitive just for people. People don't want to rebuild. People don't want to sit back and go, well, let's commit to being bad, but only for this year, only for the next 2 splits, whatever it may be. But sometimes you got to face reality. If they do, bring back, Pobelter and it doesn't look good. Like, I mean, we could see them go 0-3 this weekend, and it could go one of 2 ways. It can go 0-3 and them have really close games where it seems like they may have turned a little bit of a corner. They played really long, aggressive games, or they held with them for a really long time. Or they could 0-3, 20-minute losses, right? So I think you'll have more of an answer after this weekend. But
regardless of result, yeah.
If they are putting in Pobelter, that'll be the signs. But then again, if they had hit the point where they didn't know who they actually had starting, then they probably should have just stuck with rebuilding. If you're gonna start the rebuild process and you're gonna start someone who you think, they might fit in a little bit better and develop down the road, then you probably should have just stuck with it. Because, like a quarterback comparison, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, right? You don't have the guy. So if you realize you don't have the guy and you're trying to make substitutions and you're just like, we could go either way, you're probably just better off rebuilding.
Yes.
Yes.
I do think there needs to be more of what GG is doing, where they are trying to actually develop, a roster more than just saying, oh, this split sucked. All right, time to change everything.
Right.
I don't know.
There is
I feel
also
like that
the
happens
problem.
a little too much, but
There's also the problem of, they have sponsors, right? Like, people pay for these guys to go out and compete.
Yeah.
Sponsors don't like, hearing, we suck, we have the 2 worst KDAs, but we got better.
Perfect.
That's just
For this, Golden Guardians just announced today they got a new sponsor in Invisalign. So shout out to Invisalign and Golden Guardians for making that work.
incredible.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Thank you,
yeah.
Addison. It's like you
Now
planned
they
this.
can smile.
Smile through the pain. Smile through the losses. Invisalign. Someone like dropping a logo right above my head with a nice smile there.
All right.
Man.
Put it in post. I'll take care of it.
We'll add in post. Yeah, so I mean, if they're still getting sponsors, sponsors. I mean, as long as they, how do relegations work?
They don't
Are
have
they still-
relegation.
Okay, then so as long as these
That's the
sponsors,
word I was thinking of.
as long as the sponsors
Like
know
15
that they're
minutes ago.
Yep.
as long as the sponsors know that they're going to be staying at LCS
Yep.
level, right? The team can stay up. Then I get why they would still be a little bit more comfortable with a rebuild, because rebuilding, if the possibility of relegations there,
That sounds hard.
that's probably
Yeah.
why teams in the past always went for that immediate gratification. Just at the very least stave off relegation, because if you get relegated, things can look pretty rough, as opposed to if you stave it off, at least you're still at the top level. So I get it why you'd be more inclined to do it now, and I think if whenever I don't know when they got rid of relegation, but that's probably a better thing.
2
Um,
years?
I want to say 2 to 3
it
years
might
ago, but it
lower.
might just be now where they're actually starting to do the rebuild stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
But so I was just gonna say that if you get rid of relegation, maybe they were worried that the competition level drops, and we see that with teams down at the bottom, that they may not be making moves that would make them a little bit more competitive immediately.
Right.
But then again, what's the point? And it's all. I mean, like we saw, you have teams at the bottom beating teams at the top, or teams in the middle beating teams at the top. It's a close split, anyways. So it's looking like it really doesn't matter, anyways.
Yeah, every once in a while you get that little curveball in there. Saw Golden Guardians do it. Cloud9 almost had one. CLG, but looking at a little more realistic expectations for matches to come up here this weekend. Friday, our match of the day, Team Liquid versus TSM. This is a match I think that's going to have a lot of implications at the top of the leaderboard. Go around the board. Start with Colin. Without bias, for 2/3 of you, only one of you gets bias, and it can't be Colin. So,
Deal.
Addison, you get the bias today. Colin, who do you
Oh,
think
boy.
takes TL versus TSM?
No bias, but I do think TSM. I think TSM will take it because I feel like I don't know. I feel like they had a very clean weekend last weekend, which even in their loss, like their loss wasn't great, but I don't know because I'm trying to think. TL lost to EG last weekend, right?
Yep.
Where they just kind of threw. It felt like. Am I remembering this right?
I didn't realize that was the question. So you're saying they lost to EG because they threw?
Yeah, is that correct? I'm trying to remember.
Liquid or TSM? Which team are we talking about?
Liquid. Team Liquid.
Because of the sense of, I think they had a lot of top priority where they were trying to get
Mhm.
Alfari ahead and they were trying to shut down that Gnar.
Mm,
And then
That's right.
it worked for the most part. And then about 20-25 minutes into the game, there was one nasty TP that Gnar had that got this like huge 3-4 man ulti. They won the fight, and then the lead actually started to build from there. So it was relatively close either way. But the only place that TL was winning on the map was top lane because they were putting so many resources to Alfari.
Okay. But in general, I'd still will say probably TSM. I do feel like their drafts have been better, and I feel like that Dig loss was more of an execution mistakes rather than just like a bad draft or something. So
Drafted
yeah.
TSM. Matt?
Honestly, I was leading towards Liquid. Just to, like I said, they should be the clear winner. But then I also lead to TSM as to they were on a 6-game win streak. But I think they probably learned a lot from their loss against Dig, and can turn it around and beat Liquid.
Okay. Addison?
Yeah, I think TSM's lost to Dig. It was just Dig had a really good game. I don't even know if it was. I don't think it was even necessarily TSM had a bad game. I think TSM. I've got them still as like the number 3 team. I think they still hold that. I think they take care of Team Liquid.
Okay. I think there's going to be a huge importance around the jungle play. I think Santorin is especially, like I said, if Team Liquid has like one area of the map falling behind, they all fall behind. Because Santorin is so much better when his lanes are all just at least even, just not losing and then he can PvE for the rest of the game. So as long as Santorin gets to be in a position he can do that, I think Team Liquid might be able to take care of business. On the other side, I think TSM at least has to find one lane where they can just outright win. And I think it's going to be a very interesting bot lane matchup between those two. It'll be curious to see which one does come ahead, because team spends money or through 6 million, whichever TSM you want to call it. They hopefully their money's worth what they paid for. They get what they paid for. They haven't yet, supposedly. I think they're doing better, though. I mean, I put TSM number 2 in my power ranks, so we'll find out. Saturday, moving on, we have Dignitas and 100 Thieves. Addison, you put Dig at number 2 in the ranks. Do you think Dig takes this game over 100 T?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Dig showed a really strong game against TSM. I think they played really well as a team. I think they can keep that rolling.
Matt?
Huh?
Dignitas, 100 Thieves. Saturday.
I was busy sneezing.
Well, stop it.
Dig.
Okay. Colin? Any further insight?
I mean, I'll also say Dig, but I think that, like Addison said, the TSM win is huge. Was huge for them in terms of confidence. We'll say confidence, and then just straight up momentum from that. I feel like will carry them with this weekend to say, let them just kind of going to continue doing what they're doing, which is so far really been working for them. So
Dignitas won the last time.
Mm-hmm. True.
Point there. Now you look at the redemption arc here for 100 Thieves. They did take that loss last week to Golden Guardians. They took the 1-2 last weekend. In my Power Rankings video, I said there is a very real chance that 100 Thieves could have another 1-2 weekend, which I think would be absolutely detrimental to the morale of this team, to the confidence of this team that was just sitting towards the top in like second, third place of the leaderboard last week. They face off against Cloud9 on Sunday. Probably the second game, by your predictions, that they might lose. Do you think 100 Thieves is able to bounce back and take down Cloud9?
Well, hold on. So let's call a timeout first. They got to get past Powerhouse CLG before they do either of those games. Let's be honest here. So they might be staring down the barrel of an 0-3, my friend.
I would like to once again say that this is the last time Addison will be joining us. It has been a pleasure, but please leave.
Welcome, Brutus.
Brutus, up, buddy. You hear that? You're getting called to the big leagues.
You need to put a video on your YouTube channel that just says "Thank you, Addison."
In memoriam.
Oh man, we're just gonna do a quick dry cut, and it's just gonna be Brutus sitting in my chair with my headset on.
Beautiful.
I'd pay money for that. That's amazing.
Conveniently, you can pay money at twitch.tv/ConfusedCaribou or use your Amazon Prime subscriptions. Free.
Hey, or you can pay for his Twitter account now.
Supposedly. I don't know if that's a thing yet.
It's soon, I think. I don't know if it's actually in effect.
Soon
okay,
TM,
so
yeah.
we're getting past the powerhouse of CLG.
If they do get past, let's hypothetically say they beat our powerhouse CLG. They're 1-1 after 100 Thieves plays Dig. They're 1-1. They got Cloud9. I think in that scenario, if they've already lost to Dig, that Cloud9 game probably decides if they maintain the rest of the split, if they continue to be in that top 3 or 4 conversation. Losing to the best team, it's hard to say that it means anything else than you're not the best team. So I'm always a big proponent of, if the number 2 team loses to the number 1 team, congrats, it proves you're the number 2 team. Doesn't mean you should drop below, but it can set the tone. And if they lose to Dig and then Cloud9, they might just spiral and end up hitting towards that 5 range as opposed to that 3 range. But if they do, if we're wrong and they get past Dig, I think they'll just continue to stay in the top 3 range, and it'll just show I'm wrong about Dig and that 100 Thieves is in the top 3, not Dig, TSM, Cloud9, but it'll be more of Cloud9, 100 Thieves, TSM.
At any point, did you say who you think's going to win that?
I think Cloud9's gonna win.
Okay, all right.
He did say that,
but
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I agree with everything else you said. I was like waiting to see if like is there a pick coming out of this?
No, I was just trying to talk my way out of it. So
All right.
I already made it out of myself with CG. I'm not trying to do it anymore.
Colin, you think Cloud9 is able to take it as well?
Yeah, I think they probably will. But I will say, I feel like losing to Golden Guardians is going to make them be like, oh, maybe we should, get it together. And I feel like even though they probably will lose against Cloud9, I think it'll actually be a really good game for them even.
Matt?
Like, I think they'll play well, but not win.
Interesting. I don't know. If IMT loses to Dignitas, I think they will also lose to C9.
Okay. 100
So I think
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. Words are hard.
The lights are kicking in. And not the Christmas lights.
Grimace.
I think Colin was saying earlier about how Cloud9 is probably going to take the Team Liquid loss. I don't know if he said personally, but I think, and maybe
Like
he did say something about the 100 Thieves loss to GG was going to be a wake up call. I think C9 probably treats the Liquid loss the same way, and they probably come out, and I think they 3-0 the weekend. They go against they get GG, EG, and then 100 Thieves. I think they cruise those two games, and I think they have probably a statement win against 100 Thieves. Like a clear, convincing. We're number one last week against Liquid was a fluke, and people will start talking about maybe Liquid's a little bit better than 100 Thieves. Continue that conversation.
Yeah. I can see that entirely. And that's all. These are all points that I brought up in my Power Rankings video. It's like you guys are either smart or you watch the video. And either way, I appreciate both of those answers.
Alternative, we're all idiots. That's also a possibility.
That's the one I'm not going to accept. And this is why you're the first one off the show.
Can I be a second?
It's going to be my last one. I'm going down in a blaze of glory, all right?
We don't do that here. Come on now. I think this is a point of, in the context of this, I think I agree with you. In the video, I also did say that Cloud9, I think, should expect a 3-0 this weekend. If they are the team that we're going to put at the top of the leaderboard, I think this is, as you put it, Addison, if you're the number one team, you should be the number one team, right? And you should expect to just win all the time. I mean, sure, you're going to drop a game here and there, because even the best teams drop a game here and there, and they've done that a time or two. But I think this is something that C9 should be able to 3-0 in this. I think on the other side of it, I can understand from the Cloud9 perspective, they took the loss to TL personally. I think the same point for 100 Thieves. They took a 1-2 weekend and took that personally. Like they should not have done something like that. And knowing what I know about, DeMonte and the Golden Guardians, like those guys are going to be able to try to group back together. But like Addison said, if this is a 1-2 weekend for them, I think that is horrible for 100 Thieves. I think that is where a lot of question marks are going to start to come up. Like maybe 100 Thieves is not as good as we thought they were. Maybe these other teams are better than we thought, and we're giving the credit to the wrong places. And then you start to see the question marks go away from Dignitas, like is this team actually that good, to Dignitas is actually taking the spot now for 100 Thieves. I said all this in my video already. I'm just saying it again. And here we are.
Double dipping on that content.
You know it.
Double down. Double dip on the double down.
Double dip.
See you later, Matt.
Bye, Matt.
So
It's hot as fuck, bro. I gotta open the fucking door.
That's what I did. I turned
That's
the
fair.
fan on, man. It's hot.
Do I have a... Holy fuck, I have a fan?
Yeah, I
think
fixed that for you.
No.
Yeah, when I first moved in, he
No.
turned on the fan. That thing
Literally.
about took off. A propeller hit him in the
I
forehead.
almost didn't live here anymore.
You almost didn't live anywhere, bud.
Exactly.
To the same point of Cloud9, though, I think between TSM and TL that I put at my number 2, number 3, I think both of them, whoever wins that TSM Team Liquid game, which I think is not only the best game on Friday, I think it's the best game of the weekend. I think whoever wins that game
I'd
actually has a
agree.
pretty good shot to take a 3-0 overall. Because their other 2 games remaining for both those teams should be a decent win.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
especially if they're.
TSM faces our powerhouse CLG.
Oh no. Well, not to mention too, if you
If this
if you
comes
beat
true-
someone in the.
If CLG beats TSM,
I'm
I
gonna put.
want
Cry.
There's a lot less merit on if TSM loses to CLG. I'm gonna wait until these immediate knee-jerk reactions until CLG makes playoffs. When that happens, then we can talk.
okay.
You've already made your hot take of the day. And Ricky's already
Fair
texted me
enough.
that he's upset this isn't the Dick and Tingle Power Hour. I don't care about that kid. That's fine. He'll
well-
get his chance.
You invited me and I came and talked. It's not my fault he doesn't invite me to anything.
True. Had
He's
his
also
chance.
been playing Valorant like crazy,
Also-
so.
You're the host of that show, so that's on you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, so now we're going to move into the last subject that I have written down here. You thought I skipped it, but I didn't. I
You
just
did
thought-
skip it, but you're circling back.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
just
rate
thought
it, so I
the
don't
flow
know.
of traffic made more sense the way that I went. And now that we're looking at the competition once again, with the conversation focused around the top of the leaderboard in LCS, now we get to look in the grand scheme, autofocus camera, thank you, of the global ranks and where North America falls. Double Lift in his latest video was talking about why he retired first and foremost, but Bjergsen leaving was a decent portion of that. And it's
He
not
also talked
surprising.
about how he doesn't like that there's no crowd because of
That too.
COVID. He said that was a big one.
Yeah, that too. And I think he agreed. I think, was it Reckless? Reckless said he agreed with in that sentiment that it's just not, you don't get the same feeling from it. Like, they had this immaculate reverse sweep and came out of the losers bracket and no one was there. So it was like, all right, cool.
Whatever.
We just played League. Great. Moving on.
Right, it didn't feel any different than just playing a finals game against another team. Yeah.
Another reason he cited was in a conversation with Core JJ, in the sense that Double Lift's always had the ambition, like many and all players should have an ambition, to walk away with a world championship. And Core JJ was one of the players that made note of the fact that the gap is actually widening, where the memes used to be that the gap was closing, that North America or EU had a better shot to walk away with some hardware at the end of Worlds. And sure, we had a team make finals, and by we, I mean EU. North America's still not even close, can't even make it out of groups.
Hey,
What is
TL made it to finals in MSI once.
MSI, but that doesn't count. We're talking Worlds. We're talking end of the year.
Whoa, man, that's an international championship.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what everyone should have the goal for. And if the fact that Double Lift is quoting part of his retirement in the sense that he can't get a world championship, do you think the gap is actually widening between North America, specifically North America, but then also inclusive of NA and EU, between Korea, China, and those regions that are always, mostly it's Korea and China, but always in the semifinals, quarterfinals, and finals? Matt,
I mean,
shut up.
You're pointing in the wrong way.
No, I'm not.
you absolutely pointed in the wrong direction.
That's Matt.
For me, you're pointing off the space.
I'm
No.
pointing at Matt.
That's
So Colin
not-
and I have the same picture, and you guys have the same picture apparently, because
Yeah, this is.
I've got Matt here, Colin's
I have the
there, and
exact same
Trevor's
picture
here.
as what you're
You're
streaming.
pointing to my computer.
Yeah, that's Matt.
I have the same
Hold
look
on.
as stream.
I
Yes.
don't
Are we
see.
able to move this?
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, I have the
Your
same
camera's
layout.
switched on stream,
Whose?
Trevor's.
Huh? I'm alt tabbing, and this is.
Fuck?
Huh?
My brain hurts.
What were we talking about?
This is a pause where we take the time to figure it out.
We're talking about the gap in worlds and stuff.
Is the gap getting bigger between North America and
1, 2,
Korea to
3,
China?
4. 1,
So-
2, 3, 4.
I've had some
Pointed
pretty
that
hot
way.
takes tonight,
Addison, you go first.
And it
while
showed
they're
up that
trying
way.
to-
What the fuck?
but I've had some hot takes tonight, and I'm not gonna let you bait me into disagreeing with Double Lift's assessment of the talent level at NA.
It's
I'm
Core
not taking
JJ's
that
assessment.
bait.
It's not Double Lift.
But a double lift agree with Corey JJ. You're not going to get me to disagree with the two of them. Like that's
Do it, bitch.
some tantalizing bait that you just dropped in there, but I'm not taking it right now.
Low quality bait.
Low quality bait, yes, indeed. Low quality stream. These guys suck.
You're paying for
But
it.
so, I'm not going to disagree with them, but also, he didn't
Matt,
really.
we have a streak on Snapchat.
Dude, nice.
I didn't actually listen to Corey
Worse than
JJ's
that.
comment. I did watch Double Lift's video. He did. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he didn't really offer any solutions or
Those are the
any
same.
hope. So
So,
I don't know. We were talking last week about how NA is supposed to get better. Shit, if Double Lift doesn't know, how the hell am I supposed to know?
fuck. Figured it out. Kind of. What?
Are you still hosting the show, Trevor, or are you just laughing at Matt?
Both
Just
at
curious.
this point.
Addison and Colin's camera are the exact same from Discord to stream.
Yes.
Trevor and I's flip.
In Discord, mine is the opposite way if it shows on
What do you mean it flips?
stream.
The Snapchat you sent shows the same.
Yeah.
No. The camera, literally, like, to me on Discord, champions is backwards. On stream, it says champions.
Yeah, mine
Oh.
says champions on yours.
So when he
Both of
pointed
them.
to the right spot, he was, but it's fucking flipped.
Oh, you mean the picture itself?
It's inverted.
Because you're looking at someone else's camera view. So, right?
Got it.
I don't.
No.
Yeah, because so Mahomes is over this shoulder for me. It's over my right when I'm looking at it, but on the stream it's over my left. I know what he's talking about.
I don't, because Trevor's is different on mine. But you two are the exact same.
Anyway, the gap is widening.
Anyways, Colin, the gap is widening, okay? Explain to me why the gap is getting bigger.
Yeah, Colin.
NA sucks, man.
What the? Why is that?
I don't
That's got me
know.
fucked up.
Does it require that two people in this call have to be wondering why the inverted things are going at the same time? And now it's three because I'm talking about it.
Because I was inverted. That's just
Oh,
it.
there we go. Oh, can I flip my camera?
Whoa. Really though, I don't know why. I don't know if it's like, It seems to be one of those like the same teams tend to. Oh God! Earthquake!
Oh, this is a disaster.
I was inverted.
Can you edit? Are you going to edit? I guess.
I'm not going to edit any of this.
Somehow we're gonna piece together Colin's answer over the course of the last 5 minutes.
You know how much work that would be for me? Hell no.
No,
Hell
It probably
no.
should work.
It's gonna be
That's
like
how
the
you pay.
Simpsons
I got
clip
orders next
where
week,
they
it's
have
fine.
Homer on the news and you see the clock in the background jumping like an hour at a time.
amazing.
Jesus Christ.
Colin, I'm sorry. You were so rudely interrupted by gravity turning over.
That's okay.
That's
It
impossible,
happens.
actually.
Anyway, I don't know. So it seems like, and it's not exact, but it seems like the same handful of teams for NA always go to Worlds, right? It seems like there's always like a Cloud9 there, or like a TSM,
Right.
or whatever. And it seems, and it's not always exactly the same players, but there's always a handful of the same players. And that's not to say these players are bad, because obviously they're not going to be winning LCS and getting second, third in it if they're bad. But if the same players keep going and like producing, I guess, a similar result, it's not offering any ways for them to like improve. It's not an obvious thing they're doing or able to do to actually improve and get better results, right? And so I'm wondering if in a few years' time, I don't know, where we have more of the, I guess, new guard, we'll call it, of these LCS players that are younger, who maybe they can break like a barrier where they like, oh, maybe there's something we're seeing now how to beat these players where these older players couldn't, and it's not necessarily their fault or anything like that. It's just like there's just something about maybe the play style of the other teams at Worlds, like Korea's play style, China's play style is really, really aggressive, for example. And it feels, I don't know, I feel like this is going to be an interesting thing to see in a few years to see if that pans out at all. And that's potentially, I think, why EU is not really as behind, like not nearly as behind, obviously, since they can make finals,
Right.
They have, I think, twice in the past 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Twice in the past 3 years. Something like that. But
So
just their play style seems to work against the best teams. I can't tell if that's towards me or not.
that's toxic.
I got off topic again. I'm sorry.
Distracted me. All right. So the question, the question of this is this focus? Focus. We're almost done. We're almost there. We have like 10 minutes tops. The
Good, I need to
question
go to
of this
bed.
is the gap getting bigger. Is it the gap that Korea and China is getting better? Or is it the fact that North America is just getting worse?
Oh, North America got worse. They got rid of Odwin and Dyrus. It all went downhill.
I can't argue against that.
Yep. All right. And that's the end of the stream.
Bring back Dyrus. We bring back our chance at Worlds.
Well,
Yes.
he lives in Kansas now. You really want to do that?
Whoa! Can we go like barbecue with him?
Yeah, he lives in
Can we
Wichita.
bring?
Yes.
Can we bring Maverick?
No, he lives
Yes.
in
Do
Florida.
barbecue. Shit.
Wait, which Maverick? One's in Florida, one's in Vegas.
Which one's in Vegas? I'm in the one in Florida.
Oh. I'm in Vegas, stupid.
Dude, can we go to Vegas?
On
Yeah.
my way.
I still have the draft off. The time off for the draft.
Me too.
What's a draft off?
That's where you have a bunch of draft beer and drink it.
I was going to say it's where the Houston Texans just lose, but...
Oh.
Oh. I'm going to send that one to Ricky.
Get fucked.
So now, okay, with gaps getting bigger, we agree with this. Are there looking forward into the schedule? Addison's already said that CLG makes playoffs by the end of the spring split.
I have
Colin
no
He
regret.
definitely said that with like 100% knowledge that he was saying that.
Exactly. Yep. And I'm not going to backtrack it. I'm sticking to that now. That's the narrative I will be driving home. We're taking that one.
And
Colin,
you will
are
edit
there
out the
any-
first part.
Weird expectations that you have out of the schedule upcoming? Is there anything that you expect to change? Do you think something will change at the top of the leaderboard, bottom of the leaderboard? Just give me something to work with here out of the LCS overall.
I think we will see some change ups as like in the bottom of the stand. Like I feel like CLG is going to just slowly start getting, a little bit higher each week. Personally. And then as for the top like half of the leaderboards, that one is just it's so hard to predict. I think this weekend's going to tell a lot.
Yeah.
In that, because I feel like we have a lot of the games between those five at the top, which will tell us a lot. I mean, the TSM TL game, there's the C900 Thieves game. There's probably one or two more in there. I'm pretty sure that I can't think of off the top of my head, but like those are going to explain a lot to us, and I feel like, yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
So I think tomorrow. I mean, we already talked about Liquid TSM, probably the most interesting game.
Yeah.
On the schedule.
Mhm.
I think second most interesting could be CLG 100 Thieves. You know, because from what I've been saying all night, basically the schedule or the standings, you've got CLG down at the bottom here. You got the moral. I can't say the right teams right now. CLG at the bottom. You got 100 Thieves closer to the top. And I think as we keep going, I think you're gonna have those kind of like get a little closer. If CLG pulls off a surprise tomorrow against 100 Thieves, I think that jump happens a lot faster for both of them. I still, even if 100 Thieves takes it tomorrow, I still think that CLG is going to win out. They still have a chance at going, 5-4 to end the split. I think tomorrow against 100 Thieves is their best chance to win this weekend. So if they do take it tomorrow, I think I'll feel pretty vindicated about my takes about CLG. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that one.
If that does happen, and I'm already predicting a potential 1-2, and I think there is an asterisk of, the draft difference, who gets what based off of champion picks. With the one game being 100 Thieves over CLG. If they do end up dropping that game to CLG, that'll be 5 losses in a row for 100 Thieves. At which point, morale, confidence, everything about that team is just out the window
That's
and
it.
never to be seen again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Momentum is huge.
What you got about the same question that I gave to Colin? Top of the board, bottom of the board. What's the development that'll be coming out of the LCS that's something to keep an eye on?
I think it's always middle to bottom tier, because in most instances the top tier they're going to stay top tier and it may fluctuate a little bit. Somebody may come up and jump in to say a fourth that's right there with them. But all your bottom tiers, they're going to try everything they can. If it's different comps, different teammates, whatever it is, to figure out how to be the best or how to be their best. I think that's the biggest fight in LCS, and I actually enjoy that more than watching the top tier teams play each other. I mean, that's enjoyable, but I feel like that's the brunt of LCS that nobody gets to enjoy or really pay attention to, because they're always like, oh, I want to watch TSM and C9 play every day. Nah, not really.
So I'm gonna put it. I'm not going to extend it to the rest of the season yet. I'll do that for next week, so we'll have a little better preparation from this weekend schedule. The next 15 games. If you have the schedule up in front of you, I want each of you to pick one game that you expect an underdog to actually come away with the victory. Addison, are you gonna stick with CLG and 100 Thieves?
I'll pick a different one. So we're talking about just the next 3 days.
Yes, just this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. That's not the right day. So I think there's potential for it wouldn't be a huge upset per se, but you've got on Sunday GG versus EG. GG just beat 100 Thieves, right? I think they're on a little bit of an uptick. I think you could possibly see it again. GG has they play Cloud9 tomorrow, but then they've got Immortals, Evil Geniuses. So 2-1 wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world, but I think they might take EG.
I got it in my script. I think it is very feasible for Golden Guardians to sneak away with a 2-1 this weekend. So I could absolutely see that happening if they do play consistently enough and Immortals and EG fuck around enough. I mean, we've seen Jizuke die to towers twice solo, so there is a real chance. Matt, you had to pick one. What are you gonna pick?
Yes, I was paying attention.
So on, I can say it to you if you don't have it up in front of you guys. Cloud9 GG, Liquid TSM, EG Fly, CLG 100 Thieves, Immortals Dig. Saturday, Liquid Fly, Cloud9 EG, Dig 100 Thieves, TSM CLG, GG Immortals. Then Sunday, FlyQuest versus TSM, 100 Thieves Cloud9, IMT Liquid, GG EG, Dig CLG.
Stuff. Things.
You got one upset to pick. Who's it going to be and why?
I think you nailed it on your list of Liquid TSM.
Which one's the
That's
upset?
the game.
You think TSM upsets
The
Team
upset?
Liquid?
I don't know that people would qualify it as that.
Well, I'm asking for an upset then.
If Liquid wins, that's the upset, right?
According to some.
Fuck.
I would be upset.
Good enough for me.
It's not good enough for me, Addison. Stop
Nah.
encouraging it. This isn't your
apologies.
show. You get dick and tingle.
All right, I'll get on that.
Evil geniuses. Are they even good?
They're middle of the pack, rather inconsistent. They can't quite decide if they want to be good or not.
Oh, they beat C9 once. Alright, they'll do it again. Fuck it.
That's I would not expect that.
That's the tweet.
Okay. Send tweet.
Ignar's a god.
EG over C9, Saturday the 27th. Colin, you got one. Take your pick.
Well, I think we should kick Matt off the show because that's what I was gonna say.
Fuck.
Then it's just you and me, Colin, and that's boring. I need two more idiots to pretend like they know what they're talking about.
Whoa,
Plus,
who's pretending?
ask
I did
some
research
security.
for this.
Which makes you a nerd.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he's a Civil War nerd.
Let's see.
Hey.
Yeah, you're
This
kicked
is
off, Matt.
hard. Sunday.
Oh wait, that's not his handle anymore? Fuck.
It's my gamer tag.
I mean, darn. This is a school zone.
It's
Oh,
not.
Avramu's streaming? Going to watch him.
But I'm
Okay.
streaming.
I'll just say Immortals over Liquid.
Okay.
Do I think it's gonna happen? I don't know. But Xerxes pulled out some
Okay.
weird stuff in the past, and that would be hilarious if he just pulled out like a Shaco and then just dominated Liquid for no reason.
Those boxes are pretty
Let's go with
spooky,
that.
man. All right,
Yeah,
INT
man.
over TL.
He'd be the one to play it. I feel.
I think if I'm going to have to do this, I'm going to put this question on myself. Addison, you said you already kind of expect CLG over 100T, but you said who?
GG over EG.
GG over EG. I got an EG over C9. And I got an Immortals over Liquid. I'm going to take CLG over Dignitas. I think that would be
Oh.
the one that, and this is, I'm going to put a huge asterisk, and I like making a prediction on CLG in general is at this point very risky because we don't even know who their fucking starting mid laner is. So, well,
It's unimportant.
yeah, whatever. But the fact that now
They
now
have Wild Turtle.
right now they have like an actual roster that they've all practiced together, and the fact that Pobolter was scrimming with the team this week. I mean, he kicked his girlfriend to the fucking backyard patio to go play on her computer outside. They had class outside that day.
Hero.
Dude.
Good
So,
class
like,
outside.
I'm getting a lot of implications. Pobolter is in fact going to be the starting mid laner here for CLG this weekend. They've been practicing together. Broxus had more than 6 hours of sleep over the last 2 days, so not jet lagged, not sleep deprived. Team synergy's working on it. We're getting there. You get the notorious POB and Broxa in. CLG takes a victory over Dignitas. And this is the start of Addison's storyline where CLG makes playoffs for the mid-season showdown.
A
Any
true
arguments against
Cinderella
that?
story.
Have you guys seen the video of Critical? And he is in a chess thing online, and they're streaming it, and there are people like actually like grandmasters in chess are commentating on it.
Yep.
And he
Mhm.
checkmates someone in like 5 moves, and he's just sitting there talking about his throbbing cock. That will be me. Just me on a loop.
Might have to censor that. I'm actually gonna have to watch this one back just to maybe throw in a few censors because this wasn't as explicit as the first time around. But hey, we're getting there. We did it one more time. We made it through League and Stuff episode 2. I worked. This is still working, but I don't have a job. Is that what I called it? I don't remember anymore.
It's your show, man. We don't know.
Yeah,
We're
living
just
in
here
it.
so we don't get fined.
exactly. And you're also paying for the content, so I appreciate that. Well, some of you might be.
What do I get out of
I
this?
think I'm still subbed.
You're a moderator. That's what your
Yeah.
job is. Well, both of you in that sense. And shout out to Brock. He's the only one that actually made a difference here today because he told me my audio was scuffed, and that's about the end of it. So we try to do this again, as I said, every week, as long as these 3 knuckleheads all cooperate with me. Some of them have jobs and work and girls they have to talk to or something. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
We all clearly saw one tried to come in here today and wasn't having none
The
of
audio
it.
didn't work then, so that you won't see it. You might see it. I don't know.
Audio is different than visuals, silly.
You're not wrong, but
What
you're
are we
also
in the AV
not
club?
right.
The audio is out. You can't see it. Huh?
All right, so that's all the stuff we got for this week's league.
And stuff.
And cut.